Hey guys, I'm Caleb with Nebraska Farm Boy. Thanks for joining me on another edition of Farm Boy in 30 Minutes. Yes, the light will be fluctuating back and forth from bright to dark all throughout this video because all the light in the studio comes from natural light, which means that I'm dependent on the weather. And right now, the weather is going from sunny to cloudy, back to cloudy. And right now it's sunny, but it will probably soon be cloudy, and then it will obscure my beautiful face, which will probably be an improvement, to be honest. Speaking of which, if you don't want to see my face at all, which I get it, you can go over to Spotify and you can download the podcast over there, and then you won't have to listen. You won't have to see my face. You can listen to my wonderful thoughts and ramblings and all that great stuff while you get stuff done. You don't have to just sit and watch me. I think that would be. It's kind of weird to think of people sitting and watching me. But anyways, that's just me. So yeah, that's that. Oh, by the way, in case you were wondering, the podcast is not yet available on Apple Music or Spotify. It is available on Spotify. It's not available on iTunes, and that's because you have to be 18 to do that, and it doesn't matter if you're just a few months away from being 18. You're not responsible yet. So do be careful. I'm not responsible. I may do something irresponsible at any moment, so just be careful around me. Anyways, before we got started, I thought it would be wonderful. I thought you would all appreciate an update on my life. My life is going well. I really like my life. It was kind of the same as last time. Mostly I've been working with my dad as an electrician's apprentice, for anyone who missed the last episode. And this week's highlights involved, standing out in a bean field while we were hooking up irrigation wells and pivot motors, because everybody needs to get all their pivots moved out of the way so they can start planting. That was before this rain came through, and the wind was 30, 40, 50 miles an hour. It probably wasn't 50 miles an hour, but it was enough miles an hour out there, and it was kicking up all the dust, and it was okay. It's always I'm not complaining, because I like to do hard things and then be able to look back and see that I got through a hard thing. That's just something I enjoy. But at the same time, I did get enough dust in my eye that I kind of got an eye infection, which was okay. It didn't last long. I should more say it was swollen. An infection is too serious for what it actually was. But I wore safety glasses the next day, and that did improve it somewhat. I could also see a lot better, not because there was so much dust you couldn't see, but it was the wind was throwing dust into your eyes. So anyways, that was my fun for the week. Again, not complaining, because I do like the job. I have a good boss. To tell you about a stupid mistake I made, we were getting power from the control box, or not a control box, from the pump panel over to the well, and it was literally a 10-foot long run. It shouldn't have been that hard, but I was putting together all the PVC, and somehow I managed to get the most expensive piece in the wrong place. So basically I took the expansion coupling and I put it underground, which is not gonna work. So I know enough about contractors to know that most would have exploded. There would have been a ball of fire out in the field, and that might have started a prairie fire, and that would have been dangerous. But anyways, Dad was very gracious, and he looked at it and he's kind of I think we have another one of those in the truck. Anyways, it was very kind of him. I have a good boss, and I like my job. So life is going good. That's basically my life. I did butcher a 300-pound sheep last week. I thought that would be worth mentioning too. It was quite the job. It looked like a cow. Well, not like a cow. It looked like a pig. It looked like a pig once I got into the chiller. It's wow, that's a big sheep. Anyways, so that's my life. What I wanted to actually talk about today, and what you guys probably came to see here, was a couple questions. One, what do you want people to see in you? And two, what do people actually see in you? Okay, because we always have this ideal picture of ourselves, whether subconscious or something that we actually, are striving towards. I think it's good to have something that we're striving towards, but there's always that disconnect between what we want to be and where we're actually at. Okay, and so there's a lot of different directions we can go with this, but I want to kind of start out by, laying a foundation. First of all, there's some things that are important, some things that just aren't important. Okay, an example of something that's really not important, but kind of a complex of mine, is my wrists. Okay, I admit my wrists are skinny. Like, they just are. They're small. And it's something that kind of bothers me because, it just does. And it bothers me, when somebody, when somebody sees me, it's like, oh, got skinny wrists. We all have things like that. But it really doesn't matter, because it's like, now, on the one hand, if, I was worried because I had small arms, because I never lifted anything, never worked out, never did anything, that would matter because that's something I can control. On the other hand, my wrists aren't really something I can control. I'm fine boned, and while I do fingertip push-ups, I do knuckles push-ups, I hit a lot of hit bags, and I do a lot of work, a lot of physical work. That's not really going to improve my wrist, because the muscle that actually controls your hand and your wrist is actually in your forearm, mostly. There is some in your wrists and some in your hands. So it's really hard to actually get bigger wrists than to really grow the size of your wrist just by working out or doing anything. So it's not really something that needs to bother me. It's not something that I should really be worried about. However, there are things that are inside of our control that we should be concerned about for a specific reason. Okay, so I don't know. I think most of the people who probably listen to this podcast are Christians. If you're not, that's okay. We can agree to disagree. But, I would say that the important reason for why we should be concerned with, what people think of us is not so much about us. It should be about Christ. It should be about, are we bringing honor to Christ by what people see in us and through us? Now, a lot of people are going to say, I just want to be like Jesus. I don't want him to see me. I want him to see Jesus. And it's like, well, okay, that's a fair argument. However, people aren't going to see the spitting image of Jesus in you. Jesus isn't just shining through you. They're going to see you. They're going to see you first. And if they don't like what they see in you, they aren't going to like the Jesus that you're trying to tell them about. So it is important what people see in us. Okay, there's that. And then there's also just, you're made in the image of God, and it's important to glorify God with the body that he's given you. So I think that there is a proper reason for caring about what people think of us. Now, we shouldn't be so caught up in that it paralyzes us with a fear of man. And it really shouldn't be so much that we're worried about what people see in us, as that we are worried that we are working towards the ultimate goal of what we want people to see in us. We shouldn't just worry about what people see in us. We should be working towards something. Sorry, I just repeated myself. So basically, the foundation for all of this is, the why behind all of this is, we're trying to bring our outer man into, trying to make him captive to the constraints of the inner man that, Christ has already given us. Christ has renewed our inner man. He's given us the power to change, to better ourselves by his power, So what we're trying to do is we're trying to conform that outer man to the inner man. Now, if you're not a Christian, okay, that's going to be hard, because by my Christian beliefs, which I'm not going to shove them on you, I do believe they're correct. I do believe that they're important. I think you should look into it. But I by my Christian beliefs, the heart of man is utterly depraved, which means that you are not a good person. You were born sinful, which means that your inner man is messed up. It's totally messed up. And to be honest, even as Christians, we're not perfect. There's still parts of our inner man that are messed up. Sorry, I lost my notes. 1 second. Okay. Where was I? I don't know. Oh yeah. And so if you don't have that inner man fixed, you can't just change your outer man, because eventually that inner man's going to come out again, and you're just going to be constantly trying to fix your outer man. But if you haven't fixed your inner man first, then you're going to be fighting a losing battle, because basically your outer man is basically just basically showing through what's inside of you. If you squeeze a water bottle, water comes out of it, okay? If you get squeezed, what's inside of you comes out of you. And I'm not talking about physically. I'm sorry if that gave any of you a sad, disgusting impression, but so basically, it's important. It's important that we're working towards becoming, towards showing a person, towards being people who bring honor and glory to Christ. And I think a good example of this would be, courage. Okay, courage is not something that you just get. It's not something that it's not a spiritual gift. It's not a fruit of the Spirit. It's something that God commands us to be. He commands us to be strong and very courageous, right? And no one in the Bible was ever just given courage. Courage always comes through action. Okay, so say there's something I'm really scared of. Let's say I'm scared of cats, which, you never know. Could be true. Gotta start rumors. No, so let's say I'm scared of cats. I'm not gonna get less scared of cats by just thinking really brave thoughts. Okay? Like, I might come to a point where I think I'm less scared of cats, but I'm actually not going to be less scared of cats until I actually go and pick up a cat. If I pick up an alley cat, I might be more scared of cats after that. But, I'm just saying, like, fear is always conquered through doing a hard thing. I feel like I should give a better example than that. Let's say that I'm scared of trying to think of an example, because you shouldn't just apply this to anything, because like if you're scared of jumping off water towers, don't jump off a water tower. You won't be scared of that anymore, you'll be dead. I don't know. I'm just gonna stick with my cat example. Like, you guys know, there's better, more noble examples than that, but I'm just gonna stick with my cat example. Okay, so the idea is that we want to look different for Christ, that we want to be actively changing ourselves for the better. Okay, so there's different ways that we could do that, and I'm not going to give you an exhaustive list because that would just be kind of boring. Like, there's different ways, but like there's different physical things that we do, like the way we dress, and like, for one thing, if all you ever wear, or if like there's some things. I'm not going to just pick on the guy wearing skinny jeans and looking like a girly girl. Like, I think that gives an impression. I think that's not honoring to Christ. I just don't think so. Okay? But then there's also some dress, like, okay. If all you ever, I'm just going to pick on you country boys. I'm going to pick on myself too, because I'm here with you. If all you can ever wear is jeans and t-shirt and a baseball cap, okay? It's kind of a problem, okay? See, like, jeans and t-shirt and baseball cap is awesome. It's like what I wear mostly. However, there are certain circumstances when it's just not appropriate. Like, you should be able to dress nice for church. I'm just saying, like, stop being such a pain to your mom and dress nice for church, okay? Yeah, you should dress nice for church. This week I had to go to an interview for a program that I was applying for through the American Legion, and I had to wear dress pants, and I hate dress pants. But I did wear dress pants, and I kind of got to thinking about it, and it's kind of like, it's really a pride issue. Like, it really is. It's not so much that I dislike dress pants. Like, I do, because they feel like pajama pants, and I don't know, they don't feel professional to me. But it's not so much that I don't like dress pants as it is that I just kind of have this. I'm kind of snobbish. I don't want to be seen outside of jeans and t-shirt and looking tough with with a baseball cap, with a 1,000-yard stare that would make you run down the street. It just kind of got me thinking that maybe I am a little bit too much that way. And to pull this back to what we were originally talking about, how you dress does matter. Like, if you don't care about, how you dress shows that you don't care about yourself, how you dress shows that you think you're a girly girl, how you dress shows that you aren't gonna wear nothing but jeans and a t-shirt, I think there's a problem with that. Okay, and I think that that's gonna show through to other people, and that's not gonna be glorifying to Christ. Okay, another is our attitudes. Like, If you think that you can evangelize, you can 1 minute turn to someone and tell them all about Jesus, or give a good impression, of a man after God's own heart, or whatever we want to do here, and then you can just turn around and talk back to your mom. That doesn't work. There's a disconnect there, and it's not going to work. It's not going to follow through. Everybody's going to see the real person, the real trash inside of you. I get it. I've got trash inside of me too. And it's going to show through. So our attitudes are important. They're the outflowing of what's inside of us. And the more we can change the more we force we bring our attitudes captive to Christ, the more it's going to change on the inside. Sometimes we have to take initiative before we can actually overcome something. I get it. I have bad attitudes too. I'm just saying. And none of us are ever going to be perfect. It's just something that we all need to be working towards. It's all about direction. Another thing is language. Okay, I'm going to say something right now. Stop talking about fecal matter. It's disgusting. Okay, it's disgusting. Stop using God's name in vain. I get it. My language is not perfect. There's things that I'm maybe I shouldn't say that. But stop it. Just because it's culturally acceptable doesn't mean it's honoring to God. Doesn't mean that it's okay. Doesn't mean that it's going to it's not disgusting. It is disgusting. It's absolutely disgusting. So stop doing it. I'm just saying, you cannot show yourself a man after God's own heart. You cannot show yourself a good Christian. You can't be an effective evangelist and still have a foul mouth. You just can't. It's just a complete disconnect. It shows people where you really are. So I'm just going to say, stop talking about fecal matter. Okay, so there's different ways that we can change ourselves. We can change ourselves through the power of Christ. Like I said, you probably aren't. You're not going to have much success if you are trying to do this on your own strength. So while there's different tangible ways like that, there's also kind of like an overall way of tying this all together. Like, what are the values that I want people to see in me? Just like by the way I carry myself, by the way I talk, by the way I just interact with people. I want just the way I am to be a value statement in and of itself. I'm not saying that I don't have to speak and articulate my values. I'm just saying that I want just the way I am to be a value statement in and of itself. And I was just thinking about this. I want people to, of course, see me as a Christian. I want people to know. I don't want people to have any doubt that I'm a Christian. So I want that to be first and foremost. Not that I'm gonna tattoo a cross on my face. I think that's disgusting. Also, I think that tattoos and earrings are weird and gross. I'm sorry. That's just my opinion. So I want them to see I'm a Christian. I also want them to see me as being respectful. Just those outward signs of respect. We've talked about those before. Opening the door for ladies or older people or whatever. And, which is funny. I was just thinking the other day, you actually can get a lot of credit for doing that. But really, all you're doing is replacing a block of wood. Like a block of wood that was just wedged under the door so that, people could go in and out would replace you. So just don't think too highly of yourself when you're opening the door. Just respectful, just the way you act, just the way you talk, just the way you defer to an older person, just the way you are willing to learn. So I want people to see that I'm respectful, a Christian. I want them to see I'm respectful. I want them to see a strong man. I don't want them to see a weak, wimpy sort of guy. If they can't see past my wrists, too bad. I want them to see me, strong physically, both physically and spiritually and emotionally, and just an overall well-rounded, strong sort of man. I want them to see someone who's, hardworking, who has a work ethic, who's not going to shrink back from doing hard things. I want them to see someone who's tough. I want them to see someone, when I say tough, I don't mean too cool for you. What I mean is, let me give an example. There's a lot of tough guys who wouldn't ever cry, okay? They wouldn't ever cry, even for a good reason. But when they get hurt, you know it. They are so loud. Either they're swearing or they're just so loud. It's you cry, baby. You're crying without crying. And it's like, anyways, I don't. That's kind of an example of what I don't want to be like. I want to be tough enough that I can cry for a good reason, but I want to be tough in that when I get hurt, people don't know. Like that's the kind of toughness I'm talking about here. Then I also want them to see a mature sort of person. I want them to, I get it. I'm young and dumb. I still put expansion joints on 90s when I shouldn't. But I get it. I'm young, and I'm going to have a certain level of immaturity because I just don't know all the ways of the world. But at the same time, I want to. There's the kind of like the worldly, I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but like worldly maturity in that you just don't know everything about life. But then there's also kind of like this inner man sort of maturity, just like an overall maturity about you, that you are willing to learn the things of life, that you're willing to put in the work, that you're willing to do whatever it takes to gain respect from other people. I think that's really key to maturity, is that you're willing to do whatever it takes to gain respect from the people who you want to gain respect from. So you got that. But at the same time, this kind of paints me as a tough, kind of hard sort of person. I don't want to be that way. I want to be tough. I want to be strong. I want to be able to scare you off with my 1,000-yard stare if I have to. But I also want to be a caring sort of person. Someone who's kind. Someone who's not like. He's someone who's kind of soft. I'm tough and yet soft. It sounds like an oxymoron or a antinomy or whatever. But it really, you can't really truly be tough without being soft. Like you gotta be soft. I want them to see me as being compassionate. Someone who while he's strong, he doesn't throw his strength around, and who sympathizes with others' weaknesses. Okay, I want them to see me as humble. I want them, like, I'm not doing this for myself. I'm doing this for Christ. Okay, and I want them to see me as fun, because I want to be fun. Like I don't want to be goofy. Like some people I don't want that to be what characterizes me. But I do want to be fun. I like to make people laugh. I don't want to be like that guy who just is all serious and who frowns at everybody's jokes because it's not funny. And I want to be fun. Like I think it's important. So I want them to see a well-rounded Christian man, and all those are important. Like not a girly girl, well-rounded Christian man. Okay. So yeah, and then I guess to close all of this out is to kind of reiterate a point that I kind of touched on earlier, and that's that you can't control what others think about you. You can only control what others see in you. So, or not see in you. What you can control to some degree what others see. Okay, but you can't control what they think about you. So it's real, like, to go back to my wrist example. I don't mean to keep bringing this up, but I had a comment once, and they said they could snap my hands off with just like a gentle touch, and that my arms probably looked like shriveled weeds when they got sunburned. That didn't bother me. Like, it didn't, because that person didn't matter to me. And there's just people who don't matter to you. There's people that their opinion doesn't matter. You don't need to be scared of what they think of you. What you need to be concerned about, I guess, to some degree, is an unbiased sort of person, because everybody has biases. Everybody's going to see you through the lens of who they are. They're going to view you through a certain perspective, and that's not really your problem. Sometimes they're going to see problems in you that really are just their own perceived issues. So basically, work hard. Again, to reiterate, work hard towards the goal of being someone who brings honor to Christ through what people see in you. But at the same time, don't get caught up in what people actually think about you, because there's always going to be critics, always going to be skeptics. There's people who just want to tear you down for the express purpose of tearing you down, because tearing you down makes them feel bigger and stronger and more powerful, because they're very weak. Okay, so that's basically all I wanted to cover. I did actually have a question for this week. At this time in the show, I always like to answer a question from the viewer. I did want to say I don't have a question for next week, and if you have a question for me, please put it down below. Then I will have a question for next week. I do not get many questions. I'm just gonna be honest with you. Most of the time, most episodes, I don't have a question from a viewer. So if you have any kind of question whatsoever, it would be greatly appreciated. No questions too dumb, and like I'm not gonna make fun of you for your question. Like I'm not gonna. I hope that all my answers to the questions to the viewers haven't been prideful or arrogant. I'm not like that's not the purpose here. The purpose is just to be getting more feedback from you guys so that I can serve you guys better, so that I can be better, so I can be talking on the. No, I'm probably not always telling you things you want to hear, but be talking on the subjects you want me to be talking on. Just so that you are better served. Anyways, the question for today was from the Honorable Yasmin. I don't know if that's actually a real name. That was the YouTube name. So Yasmin asked, what is the hardest thing that I do on the farm? Now that's an interesting question because that could go a couple different directions. Do you want to hear what's the hardest thing physically? That would be doing hay or anything that you can that is basically like unlimited work that I can throw myself as hard as I want to into it, and it has to do with heavy physical like lifting. The reason that square bales is hard, like one of the most physically hard things for me, is not so much because I have to give my all to it, but because like it's just my nature to give my all to a task. So I hit the job with my all, and sometimes injuries happen when you do that, and I'm giving 100%. When in reality, it probably would be wiser to give like 80%, so that I'm like conserving some of that energy. It's either that, or it would be scooping. Or actually, probably harder is scooping corn out of the bin in 80-degree weather. Because when it's 80 degrees outside, it's like 100 degrees inside the bin. That's exhausting. But the thing about hard work, I love hard work. Like I'm gonna be I thrive on really hard physical work because I know that at the end of this I'm going to be so glad that I did that. What's actually hardest for me is doing the mundane everyday work. Like that's what's hardest. I have a hard time motivating myself to do that. And so that's definitely the hardest. The hardest thing is the mundane everyday. Let's go clean the garage. I hate let's go clean the garage today. And to be honest, that's probably mostly what I do is the mundane everyday stuff. So which is fine. It teaches character, builds, and it's fine. I appreciate that. But yeah, that is probably the hardest thing. If you mean okay. Overall hardest is anything to do with pigs, whether you're moving pigs from point A to point B, whether you're working pigs, whether you're whatever you have to do with pigs. Pigs are too smart for their own good. They bite, they are huge, and they're just mean. It's like, I don't know. You guys know that I complain enough about pigs that I actually kind of like pigs. I think you guys know that. So yeah, I guess that would probably be the hardest thing. Those are the three hardest things that I do on a farm. Either the physically hard stuff, lifting square bales, scooping corn, splitting wood, stuff like that, or it's the tedious things, the everyday mundane grind of the farm, or it's anything to do with pigs. Okay, that's my answer for you. So thank you for asking that question, Yasmin, much appreciated. If anybody else has questions, that would be much appreciated as well. You will probably get featured on Nebraska Farm Boy. There's not much competition. So I guess without any further ado, that's what I've got for you guys. I won't keep you any longer. Have a great week. 2 weeks, actually, because I've only been doing this every 2 weeks. Have a great 2 weeks.